when you're moving from place to place, place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, and welcome to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television. It is Tuesday, the 24th day of June, 2025, and we're coming to you live from the Port Mall here in Scarborough, Tobago. I am Adana Kumbi. This is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Isn't it a pleasure, an honor, and a privilege to be in the land of the living? We must give God thanks for life, for He's the reason why we are here. We're able to breathe in the fresh morning air, and indeed it is a pleasure being here this morning to have conversations that you want to be a part of, and I'm so grateful that you have chosen us this morning, and you continue to choose us and to make us number one for morning show here on the island of Tobago. But before we get into all of our conversations this morning, we head on over to the news in 90 seconds.
In 90 seconds for Tuesday, June 24th, 2025. THA Finance Secretary Petal Ann Roberts has demanded a minimum of 5.9% share of the national budget, about $3.71 billion for Tobago, citing the island's population-based entitlement. In a historic first budget presentation, Roberts reflected on the Assembly's achievement and blamed the previous PNM administration for over $1 billion in unpaid debts. She highlighted progress in the governance, including the completion of 6 years of financial statements. The budget emphasized investments in key sectors and renewed calls for Tobago fiscal autonomy, arguing that meaningful self-governance is essential to the island's economic stability and growth. Up next, Tobago West MP Joel Sampson has called for greater national recognition of Tobago's rising needs, citing faster population growth than Trinidad over the past decades. Speaking during the media review, he welcomed 621 million allocation to ministries for Tobago and 134 million to the THA. He praised a mandate requiring ministries to consult the THA on local projects as a key step towards autonomy. Sampson highlighted the urgent need for resources and policy attention and supported plans to extend THA's borrowing powers, access grant, and support urban development. And finally, DCP Suzette Martin is under investigation for her role in the 2022 detention of firearms dealer Brent Thomas in Barbados. Police Commissioner Alistair Govero confirmed the inquiry launched after Thomas' alleged criminal conduct. Though Martin remains on active duty, Govero said the process will be fair and transparent. The Police Complaints Authority had previously investigated the matter, and former COP Gary Griffith called for a broader probe into the authorized operations. Martin said she welcomes the investigation and will fully cooperate. The Police Service Commission has yet to be formally informed. And that was your news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Bianna, for our news there in 90 seconds. And, I want to go to one of your stories. In fact, I think all of Tobago was sitting behind their televisions or behind their devices yesterday. For me, actually, I was looking at two devices simultaneously as I was listening to the THA budget presentation, as well as the presentation from the MP for Tobago West in the Parliament yesterday. And I feel as if it is a proud moment for Tobago. I felt proud, and I feel as if all of Tobago should feel proud regardless of your political affiliation. I think the representation was a good representation. I feel as if the delivery was good. His points came across quite clearly. There was no ambiguity there, and I think Tobago had good representation in the House yesterday. I don't know, what do you guys think?
Well, I focused more on the THA budget. I wasn't able to, hear him speak, but from hearing word on the ground that his presentation was well done.
Yes, likewise, to be honest, I focused more on the THA presentation. But I'm glad that we're having good reviews of his contribution in the House, and we hope that himself and his colleague for Tobago East, they would continue to represent Tobago to the best of their abilities, and Tobagonians could only win once they do their job well.
That's right. And what we need to do right now that we are there and, we have the opportunity to have a voice, what we need to do as Tobagoans is come together. We need to have one voice in unison. And while I know another election's coming up before the end of this year, and so we will start seeing campaigning for that. But what I want us to focus on is at the end of the day, we really want Tobago to win, right? In the Parliament, we want Tobago to win. While in the Tobago instance, there are different parties who are vying for the position. While we are in the Parliament, what we want is for Tobago to win. So I think we should rally around what is happening there and ensure that, we lend the support that is necessary to ensure that our matters are taken, given a voice and taken seriously as much as possible where that is concerned. Let's switch gears to the budget then, guys. What do you think about the budget presentation yesterday? Maiden presentation in the House yesterday.
Yes, I think it was a solid budget presentation. Should have highlighted a number of sectors that the THA wants to focus on, and it seems that the THA really is zoning in on economic diversification as well as human capital development in Tobago, and I think that is an exciting direction to take the island in. I know that we've had the talks for many years about economic diversification, so it's left to be seen that this administration would actually take it seriously and put in the work to diversify the economy, because something such as economic diversification is a tall ask. It's a difficult job to execute, and in my opinion, I think a lot of administrations in the past, in central government as well, would have probably talked about it and then skate around doing it, not really tackling the issue head on.
And one thing about, sorry Akilabi, I'm not sure if you were finished there. The thing about it is with this secretary is that she has been in finance in THA for a very long time in terms of being in management, accountant, and seeing how things happen, how trends happen, and having the hands-on experience with knowing that, let's say for instance, there are so many grants, these bursaries, that people get grants for their businesses to set up, and then they set up shop, and then shop has to close because there's no training, there's no investment, there's no one to hold their hand to ensure that their business remains viable, not just in the Tobago market, but globally, that they could stand the competition around the globe. And I feel the passion in that particular area. I know she mentioned 5 main areas, but I know in that particular area, I know there's a lot of emphasis there, and the passion is there because the talk is that the THA really is a little bit heavy in terms of employment and trying to ensure that people remain sustainable, they can sustain themselves and their lifestyles, and create some type of legacy here on the island of Tobago. So I'm hoping that really takes off. And we can't expect it to happen by tomorrow morning.
Yeah, it wouldn't happen overnight.
Right.
Like you said, she has been involved in the Division of Finance for quite some time. So she's very well aware of the challenges that are facing our small and medium enterprises. And she seems to be really passionate about tackling the issues in terms of human capital development. And I think the issue, our problem of economic diversification and economic strengthening, it really starts at human capital development and building the capacity of those that are really trying to make moves to enable them to grow their businesses and thereby growing the economy of Tobago.
That's right, that's right. Well, we'll see how it goes. I mean, for me, I was looking for more for agriculture, when we're talking about agro-processing and ensuring that we are able. We also have a good opportunity for an export market with our agro-processing. So I was really looking for a little bit more there, but that's just projections there. So providing that the budget goes the way we want it to go when the national budget is read. So we'll see how that goes as well.
Yeah, we should get more details by the November budget when it comes around.
That's correct, that's correct. All right, Brianna, thank you so much for joining us this morning on set and for bringing us the news in 90 seconds. We do hope that you have a wonderful day and see you again on Thursday.
Same to you.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, it's that time of the morning where we celebrate with those who are celebrating. It's time for our birthday shout-outs. And of course, you know, we here at Tobago Update Television, we love a good celebration. And this morning we say happy birthday to Giselle. Giselle Allen is celebrating a birthday today. And we say happy birthday to you. We pray God's blessings upon your life. And we do hope that you have a wonderful and an amazing, amazing birthday today. We pray God's blessings upon your life. And we hope that you continue to walk in the birthday blessing and the birthday glow. So happy birthday to you.
And we say happy birthday also to Miss Avril Allen. Happy birthday to you, Miss Avril Allen. Very well known songstress here in Tobago, very well known in the cultural space. We say happy birthday to you and God's richest blessings. We wish you peace and love and all the goodness that comes with celebrating a day special like today. So we say happy birthday.
And not just Avril, but her twin, Arlene. Arlene is also, of course, if it's a twin, they both are celebrating today. So Avril and Arlene, we say happy birthday to you girls. Girls from Sangsters Hill, yeah. Big up the Sangsters Hill crew there. Well representing Sangsters Hill quite well, as you said, Akilabi. Voices, I don't know, boy. You know, some people are born for some things, and these girls were born to sing. Not only that, they are very good at event planning and event managing too. And so I want to say happy birthday to you guys, and I pray God's blessings upon your life. And I hope that you continue to walk in purpose, that you continue to make the impact that you are making. And, you know, a special happy birthday to you from me. You know, I really celebrate with you girls today, and I really pray God's blessings upon your life. And Akilabi, you notice that all the birthdays today are Allen's, and Giselle also had a stint living in Sangsters Hill as well. You know, so that's correct. So, you know, we say happy birthday to all of you girls. And of course, if you are celebrating today, and even if we don't have your photographs, we join in the celebration with you. Whatever you are celebrating today, whether it's a birthday, an anniversary, a promotion, you got a new car, you got married, you're migrating, whatever you are celebrating, we join in the celebration with you. But we remind you to put God first, because He is the sole reason why there's even anything for you to celebrate. So we're going to be having conversations this morning. As you are aware, the budget was ready yesterday, Akinlabi. So what kind of conversations are we having today? Who are we speaking with today?
All right, so this morning we're speaking with Mr. Dexter Sandy, who is the iconic band leader and manager. He was the iconic band leader, and he'll be talking about the THA 2026 budget review. And also we're going to have in studio with us Mr. Curtis Douglas, President of Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce. And he's also going to give his 2 cents on what he thinks about the budget review. And finally, we're going to have Mr. Barry Joefield, who's an economist, and he's also going to give us his thoughts on what the budget presentation was about yesterday.
That's right. And of course, viewers, you know, you can be a part of the conversation. We invite you to leave your comments on our Facebook live stream and on our YouTube channel at Tobago Updates. We want to hear what you think. We want to know your opinion. We want to know what you were looking forward to. What were your high points of the budget presentation yesterday? As we have the conversation this morning, be a part of it. We want to know. We just want to know. We want to know. And of course, we love it when we hear from you and we receive comments from you. And I want to take this moment to say a special good morning to all of you, our loyal viewers who are always online viewing with us this morning. I say good morning to Julia Brown. Good morning to Pearl Murray Beard. Good morning to all of you who give us your encouragement, who see us on the nation's roads and you tell us hi, you give us, you know, the little pep talk. You know, good morning to you, and thank you so much for choosing us always. Well, we have to go for a short break before we begin conversations this morning, and as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents our signature event, Tobago Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Lights, cameras, dance. Our 12th edition on Saturday the 12th of July, 5 p.m. The Chopin Cultural Complex Auditorium. See our dancers, all ages, compete in waltz, jive, rumba, salsa, mambo, and much more. Our Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Who will take home the Mirrorball Trophy? Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, the wife of the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Miss Lynette Louie, vocalist entertainer. Mrs. Cassandra Thompson Forbes, journalist and and Tobago correspondent, Mr. Javon Carrington, founder and head trainer of Dosfit Studios, and Mr. Julian Skeet, administrator and former TV host. After show dance party with DJ Santa out of Trinidad. Early bird tickets, adults $200, children $75, and general tickets, adults $250 and children $100. Get your early bird tickets now from Dance Ensemble members, D&D Jewelers at Tobago United Cooperative, Milford 24 gas station in Canaan, and the Shore Park Cultural Complex box office. For more information, you call 772-9049 and 340-5758. You can't miss this one.
Are you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam? You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Hello, New York! Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
Hair goals, we've got them. At S&R Hair Fantasy, we provide a wide variety of quality hair, the latest hair accessories, adult toys, skin lightening products, female underwear, and much more under one roof. Check us out on Shelbourne Street in Plymouth or call us at 317-0808. We're open Monday through Saturday, 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. S&R Hair Fantasy for queens who know exactly what they want.
Want to get better? Where to start? What kind of exercise to do? What to eat? How to get restful sleep? Need a doctor to search for root cause? Look no further. Come to Majuba Hill Lifestyle Center Foundation at our Wellness Center in Goodwood, or Food Hub in Darrow Springs, Scarborough, or Doctor's Office in Goodwood and Darrow Springs. Contact 49SWIFT 4979438.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to the morning show here on Tobago Updates Television, and thank you so much for staying with us. In studio this morning, we speak with Mr. Dexter Sandy, and he is the iconic band leader as well as the president of the Tobago October Carnival Association, and this morning we're talking about the budget review this morning. Good morning, Mr. Sandy, and welcome.
Good morning, Adana. Good morning, Akinabi, and good morning to all your viewers.
Right.
Morning.
So we had the budget presentation yesterday, and we know everybody looking for their piece of the pie in terms of how is the allocation going to affect their industry, their craft, their talent, what they are looking for, their interest. And so we want to have the conversation this morning in terms of holistically the budget, and of course directly at tourism and how it plays a role in the October Carnival. So I don't know if you have a little overview that you want to give in terms of your interpretation of the budget.
Well, definitely yesterday I wasn't fortunate to look at the live presentation, but I've been able to look at some of the key highlights. And I mean, a budget is something that really is a plan, right? That over a period of time we intend to expense and provide services or do different things that we have on our checklist, right? And in this budget presentation yesterday, based on the highlights, I saw that there was the tourism and creative sector. The ask there was for 150 million. I don't have the comparative data for last year, but the figure, for all intents and purposes, I know the secretary would have done her due diligence to come up with that figure. So it's very encouraging to see that it's highlighted as one of the 6 key areas, the 6 key sectors that the THA is now looking to focus on for the new year. I would say for Carnival, on a whole, we really need to put emphasis behind the product. Yes, the Carnival is in its 4th year, and I make the analogy of a child. As an infant, a child is basically on a liquid diet. But as it gets older, it now consumes liquids and solids. And I think now is the time that we need to prepare for the Carnival, having the solids as a part of the diet. We need to put a little more into it. I'm not going to assign a specific figure, but it's very key that we invest a lot more behind the Carnival. The Carnival, from inception, we saw the results. We saw what it did for tourism. We saw where the bed and breakfast, the car rentals, the tour guides, those guys at the reef boats, everybody benefits, as well as the mass bands, what we're able to produce and put on the road. We've seen where it has really helped to grow the economy just for that short period of time. So we really need to make the moves, spend the money in the right areas to now make the Carnival not just a product, but a sustainable product. You know?
And in terms of, investing in the Carnival, ensuring that it remains a sustainable product, what are some of the areas that you think the allocation can be spent? Because sometimes, after the fact you hear, of course, you have to do your assessment. So after the fact you hear, we should have done this, we could have done this, and why didn't you all do this? Or you might hear somebody complaining about something, things that worked, things that could have worked better, and things that could have been implemented that were not even considered. What are some of the areas you have observed can receive some more investment?
Well, definitely, I would say that the Carnival itself needs its own management team or leadership team. Over the past 3 years, it has come under Festivals Commission, which is responsible for all festivals on the island. And they have a calendar of events, and they've been trying their best. But the Carnival needs its own team, its own entity that will properly plan to execute not only just one weekend of activities, but an entire month. And to be able to execute that and plan for that, we need an independent body that will be working on this thing year round, right? That is something that is key to the sustainability of the Carnival, besides investing more funding into it. And I mean, the island as well, we need to prepare for the Carnival. A lot of persons are saying, well, the majority of persons on the island here don't participate in Carnival, but it does not mean that they can't benefit from Carnival. We have seen at Carnival time, National Carnival, where a lot of camps happen in Tobago. So you know what? If all the partying and stuff is central to Scarborough, then other communities could now prepare to host some of these same groups that don't wish to participate in the Carnival for like a 3-day camp, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday. have them outside there. So those communities and the economic system within those communities can now benefit, right? But I must say, in terms of the sustainability, we really need to develop an entity that will focus on Carnival for an entire year, mapping out what needs to be done. I mean, right now, we don't even have a formal band launch in sight for the festival, not as far as I am aware of, right? And if an entity was put in place, I'm pretty certain we would have had that done at the very start of May, right? Because that would be enough time to now go to market with the product and let persons know that this is what they can expect for Tobago Carnival. But I must say, kudos to all the bands so far that would have done their part. I think I have a list in here: Casato Promotions, MVP Mass, Jade Monkey Mass, Blush Carnival. Those 4 entities have already put forward their 2025 productions. I'm really proud of them. There are others who right now are still working on theirs. I know Iconic Mass, Fog Angels. Those some of the larger bands have been behind the scenes working on prototypes. Some have even done their photo shoots. So we'll come into market very soon, within the next 2 weeks or so, with regards to the launch of those particular products. But the Tobago Carnival can be so much more for the island, and the budget is really just a part of it that really gets us prepared for that season.
So, Mr. Sandy, you mentioned a couple of things, and I want to delve more into it. You stated that the carnival is going into its 40th, and it's time for it to get some more solid food,
Yeah.
right? In that, you're speaking not figuratively, yes.
Yeah.
So, and you also spoke about a separate entity. So you're talking about something similar to the National Carnival Commission, perhaps a Tobago Carnival Commission of a sort, right? If created, what can the Tobago Carnival Commission do in terms of elements of the carnival to improve it that are missing now?
Yeah. Well, definitely that entity would be charged with the responsibility, one, of marketing Tobago Carnival as a destination. The feedback that we have gotten for the last 2 years is that Miami Carnival, which is in October, which is 2 weeks before Tobago, is losing its sting. And we need to take advantage of that. And taking advantage of that is not 2 to 3 weeks before the execution of a carnival. It's literally 12 months before, the year before, right? And I would say that an entity of that nature would be able or should be able to now start marketing the destination. Why Tobago is one of the better options, or probably the best option when it comes to carnival. It's a safe carnival that we have executed for the last 3 years, proven. We are very affordable, right, in comparison to other carnivals throughout the region. In terms of the route, it's the most scenic, right? The route takes part on the highway and along a stretch, a body of water. That is a magnificent view for any masquerader. When you're going down that stretch on Milford Road here, Calypso Rose Boulevard, right? And that wind hits you. It's a different feeling. You don't get that anywhere else in the road. Miami, you're going around in circles in an indoor stadium, right? There are so many different things that are happening for us, and I think an entity that is primarily focused on the carnival will be able to get things done. Yesterday I was coming through Piaco, chatting with a businessman, and he was saying to me, how come you all don't have a stage? Right? This is your 4th carnival. I said, yes. How come you all don't have a stage? And I mean, it's something that I've been clamoring for. We all have been clamoring for. But just to hear this person say that to me again was refreshing. That there are persons looking on at the product and they're saying to us that, we need to lift the game. Right? So again, a special purpose entity geared towards carnival would really be able to check some of these boxes and put things in place for us to elevate what we have done for the last 3 years.
Also concerning private involvement, private sector involvement in the carnival, how much more of a contribution or how much more involvement would you like to see the private sector in terms of sponsorship and financing some of these developments that we want to take place?
Well, I would definitely say their role is very important, because the product of carnival is not just mass bands on the road. The bed and breakfast, the hoteliers, the villa rentals I would say those persons really have to get prepared. Through the budget, I know that the Secretary in coming up will kind of roll out how the funding is going to go, because I know that they do have the loan guarantee program. I've been hearing about it. It would be for some of these entities to tap into it. Prepare your business place for the influx of people. That is part of preparation for Carnival as well. It's not just putting the beads and feathers on the road. The guys with the car rentals, I know last year, Massey said to me that they had to bring up additional vehicles from Trinidad to add to the fleet, of course, that they rent and offer to the public. And I know that I chat a lot with the guys down at the airports in the car rental lot. They do get booming business during that weekend. So all I'm saying, we as Tobago, we need to prepare our individual businesses to earn something from the Carnival and benefit. And once we all are involved, I think Tobago will do well for a Carnival of its own.
I like the idea or the thought, or at least the conversation has been had amongst the Tobago October Carnival Association committee or group, or association rather, it's an association, about having an independent body to focus primarily and specifically to the Carnival, because I feel this event, though I am not a Carnival person by any means at all, in fact I'm a church girl, I'm a Christian, I love Jesus Christ, but the event, the festival itself, it does something for the island of Tobago in terms of the economy of Tobago, the economics. And if you really want to ensure that you can benefit from it, you really need to have somebody who is focused. That is your focus. Your 9 to 5, your 8 to 4, and not just as you mentioned, I know Tobago Festivals Commission is doing a lot in terms of managing festivals, and they're doing an amazing job, in fact, hosting events. But for this specific event, for it to really be maximize the potential, I want to agree with you on that. And I'm hoping that, the powers that be will really see the importance of having something like that. For me, marketing is very, very important. Tobago October Carnival should be all over by now. We're heading to July, right? So, and the event is 3 months away. 3 or 4 months away, and we should be seeing something happening, so I'm hoping that, you can get that kind of support that you're looking for. And not just that, there are some things that you mentioned as well that a lot of people don't focus on, is the preparedness. Instead of looking for the financial support that comes from whichever organization, whether it's a government agency or corporate sponsor, how about I invest in my business to ensure that I too can benefit? We want to have Tobago prepared. Dexter, what do you think about, I know you talk about the scenery and the routes and all like that. The safety, we've had safe carnivals. What do you think about in terms of we talk about the roads, we want to talk about our roads, right? And sometimes it's not the best surfaces. What do you think? Do you think that any kind of heavy investment should be put in that as well to ensure, you don't want to jump on and twist your ankle somewhere?
Well, one thing I must commend the organization for, through the chairman, Mr. Cowan, last year since he came in, and even prior to him, Collis Hazel, ECP, would have called a full operational team, which involved the division of infrastructure, fire service, police, you name it, team, everybody was there. And part of the purpose of that team and in preparing for Carnival would have been to examine some of those same roads that you spoke about. And over the years, I must say, Atiba Martin, he would have been responsible for that. And he would have really answered the call. 1 year we had a little hole in front by Port Mall. Unfortunately, a masquerader did sprain their ankle there. But by the next time, that was removed. It's no longer there. And we would have placed a lot of focus on the route to make sure not only safety is there for the masqueraders, but also for the equipment that will be passing on it, the music trucks, the drink trucks, the service vehicles. So that to ensure that there's no element of risk really that somebody could be hurt. So far the route has maintained. I haven't seen any potholes, any repairs to water lines or so on the route. I've been examining the route quite frequently. But I know that we just need to put things in place, taking into account what will happen during that period, and be proactive in preparation.
Mm-hmm. And this is what I wanted to hear, the intentionality, and you mentioned it there, and that's what I was trying to get from you, the intentionality in terms of you observe the routes, the risk analysis that is being done in preparation, and all of these things that people kind of take for granted. Participants, they take that for granted, that we have a show and we're going to go on the road. So I really wanted you to bring out that intentionality, that there are teams. I know for certain the risk analysis is done, and all of those things are done. So I wanted to bring that to the fore. And I'm happy that you mentioned that, let's hope for the best. It's a good product. It has done well over the past years, and there's potential for it to be greater. So let's hope that not just the budget, but just the Tobago population in general, we kind of see the opportunity that we have ahead of us, and we kind of work together to ensure it happens. Akinlabi?
Well, I know you would have come here, you want to say a little bit about iconic mass. So tell us about iconic mass, Mr. Sandy.
Well, definitely the band Iconic Mass, we are so excited for the 4th edition. I mean, we've been here from year 1, and I've really seen the growth of the band, the brand. I've seen the growth of the carnival, and we're really proud to continue to be a part of it. For those who follow us on social media, you would have seen that we would have put out our theme already, Tropical Bliss. And as it is right now, we have our prototypes in hand. A lot of people are messaging, calling, send a picture of the costume now. I want to see something. But we prefer to put out the full compilation all at once. That's going to be happening within the next 2.5 weeks at most, because we still have our photo shoot and stuff to get done. But once that is done, we're going to present it to the market. A bit late, yes, I would admit, because there are a lot of moving parts in preparation for Carnival. And I mean, as you grow, you also learn.
Yes.
But definitely we are almost ready. We are about 90% there. And soon it will be hitting the market, hitting our social media, hitting Tobago updates, right, with what we have to offer for the Carnival season. So Iconic Mass. Just stay tuned, check out our Instagram, iconic_mass, or even on Facebook, iconic_mass.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mr. Sandy, for joining us this morning and going through the budget review with us, and of course talking about the Tobago October Carnival and your position, ensuring that the festival comes off quite successfully. Ladies and gentlemen, we have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio, and as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
With Flow Business's new smart solutions powered by super fast, reliable broadband, you'll feel like there are more versions of you working for you. From website design, development, and digital marketing to promote your business, 24/7 business class support to cloud solutions, security, and more. Multiply your growth today.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for my house, yeah? I want to shake a thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high-quality, innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I cousin Tofina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put that. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me pick me them go drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trace Springer down by the place down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trace Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back, viewers, to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. And we have in studio with us Mr. Curtis Williams. I erroneously called him Mr. Curtis Douglas before, but it's Mr. Curtis Williams, who's the president of the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, and he's here to continue the conversation about the THA Budget 2026. Good morning and welcome, sir.
Good morning to the viewers and listeners on Tobago Updates. It's a pleasure being here.
All right.
So tell us, 2026 budget. What is the feeling of Mr. Williams? What is the feeling of the Tobago Chamber?
Well, the Tobago Division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, we give the secretary a passing grade. I saw a package that have been inclusive, a package that have been recognized the Tobago business community. Coming out from our previous conversation we had with the secretary running up to the budget presentation, I think she have really listened to us. She have listened to the agriculture sector, she have listened to the tourism sector, and she put together a comprehensive package that tells a lot, a really lot. Let me pull some of the highlights out. One of the big highlights I like is the fact that we lobby for a loan guarantee program for the Tobago business. Coming out of COVID, lots of business in Tobago have been suffering, and we continue suffering because of working capital, etc. The numbers is not where they ought to be. And the secretary took that into consideration, and they came up with a package to assist us. We were lobbying for this for nearly 2 to 3 years. All right, my past president and vice president were lobbying for this kind of a loan guarantee program, and now we have it now, which will enable small business to get loans up to $3 million. I can see that. I mean, imagine the Tobago Assembly is going to guarantee a loan up to $3 million. And I think this signals a good way going forward for business on the island. All those, any type of business that she mentioned, maybe hotels, maybe bread and breakfast, maybe all kind of business. Once you reach the criteria, minimum is $750,000, you could get that loan and going forward. And it's going to be easier than the government loan guarantee program. Remember, the government had one, and it was a little stringent that they have all these red tapes and holding you by your neck, and everybody was strangling. And that is what we mentioned to the then chief finance secretary, which was the chief sec. And he decided to tailor a package that could assist the local business here in Tobago. And we are pleased with that. We were so happy to hear that announcement, to see the launch and everything. We were really pleased about that. There was another aspect that stood out and really meaningful for us was the Tobago Development Fund. It was to be a bank, but it's a fund. And that institution would help you now to move. So we're dealing with those who are having problems with the COVID and who are struggling to meet their working capital. Now, what about those who want to size up, those who want to scale up, those who want to get ready for this big blast of tourism that's going to be coming to Tobago? You will need that additional financing. And hence the reason why the Tobago Development Fund will assist you in that. Whether you're going to be equity financing or other financing, that fund, because that entity will absorb the BDU and the venture capital. So you will have an entity that will be going there, sizing up, bringing your business to the next level. And I mean, we're so pleased about that. In the business community, those were some of the things that was affecting us in a really big, meaningful way. We could not have access to funding. We could not have access to capital because it was a real hard time going to the bank. When the bank look at your financials, they square their eyes and they say, no, nothing for you, Mr. Williams. You can't make it. And now we have an entity. Although we are going through the bank, it will be a loan guarantee program, and it will be a development fund, which is a separate entity now. They're going to look at you differently now. Look at you as a Tobagonian and not look at you as a Trinidad and Tobago. Because you know in Trinidad, everybody having fun. Down there is big. Everybody's booming down there. Things is happening. Yes. When I drive over the weekend, I want to know what's happening. If Tobago have been left behind and Trinidad is going forward. So I'm happy to see some of those big takeaway that we pull out of the budget for the SMEs on the island.
And the Tobago division of the chamber, right? What are you all doing, or what do you all plan to do to prepare your membership, and even those who are not members but might come to you all for help to prepare themselves for this loan guarantee program?
So what we have asked the committee, there's a committee that administers the whole loans, which is the loans fund, the fund committee. We asked them to come to us and discuss in detail some of the things that they will be required. We put together a small working group or session. And that session will be tomorrow at 5, where we ask all the business entity on the island, all who think they could qualify for this fund or this loan, the loan, come and see us at the chamber for 5 tomorrow. We will have the accountant there, we will have the financial people there, the bankers. We'll also have the technocrats who will assist you in putting together your packages so that you could guarantee you get something out of this loan guarantee program. The other part that stood out, and we must talk about it, is transparency. I see today the Tobago House of Assembly accounts are up to date. We never had that in the history. That blew me away. It was something we always asked about. When we go to see the accounts, what were going on? The Auditor General always talk about it. And yesterday, the secretary was to boast about it, and I'm happy about that. Those things speaks volume. I know the secretary came from a technocrat background. She have a financial background, and she understands when it comes to accounting how you need to deliver. And she did deliver yesterday. And that transparency in the Tobago House of Assembly accounts, where everyone can look at it and it can be audited, and we are pleased about that. So there's no years going back. It's up to date, and it will be there for the public to view it, look at it, scrutinize it, see where all your money have been spent, and then you can make your comments as you so desire. But it's audited accounts, and that sends a good signal in the business community. Transparency, integrity in your accounts, that sends a good signal.
Mr. Williams, you mentioned before, and it's public knowledge, that the loan guarantee program is something that you've been clamoring for. The government has one similar, but they will focus primarily on tourism, just the tourism sector, I believe, just tourism alone. Here, the Tobago House of Assemblies, any sector, once you are domiciled in Tobago, a registered business domiciled in Tobago, which is good. We give them a round of applause for that. You also mentioned the fact that the Tobago Chamber will be providing the measure of support for the businesses in Tobago to kind of understand how to maximize the opportunity that is ahead of them now. In terms of your experience, right, and the data that you have, your experience in terms of managing businesses, providing support to them and ensuring that they are able to, grasp the opportunities. What has been the response? What is the outcome in terms of providing that measure of support and businesses actually coming to the chamber to say, hey, we need your help. We access the help, we understand the procedures, and to show the benefits from it. Have you been able to see the measure of successes in that area?
Well, as was mentioned in her statement yesterday, she did mention the Tobago division of the chamber, and the THA would be partnering with us to assist business in education, in that mentorship. So we're not just going to let you get money and you're gone wild. We're going to be there with you through our mentorship programs. We have our mentorship programs, and we will be there developing you into that. So we're going to be a hand-holding process going through. So we will see you move your business from 0 to 20 to 100, because we will be there through our educational program, through our Tobago Business Advisory Service, which is TBABS, that we launched a year ago, 2 years ago. And through that venture, the Tobago Assembly will be assisting us in educational programs, bringing in mentors to assist you moving forward. And I think that's a good step. That's an excellent step for business in Tobago, because some business, you're good at your technical aspect of the business, but when it comes to the finance, you're not too good at that. You need someone to assist you in that process, and you can't be an accountant. Accountant is not that cheap as we could think about it. But if you have someone who can give you that level of understanding in your finance, they're able to tell you, okay, this is what you do in terms of your bookkeeping. We're able to tell you this is what you do in terms of your marketing. We'll tell you this is what you could do in terms of your pricing. Because we see now in the business space, I remember 2 days ago, a guy was complaining about prices he's paying in Tobago for products. And it's maybe some of the business people just don't understand how to price and put a product. So they just put a price as they felt it ought to be, not working out the mechanism to understand that price is a little too high. So yeah, things that we want to do for our membership and the business community. We want to look at your pricing. We want to look at your marketing. We want to look at your customer service. You know, we having that issue now with customer service, and we want to look at you overall, the health of your business. Business and on the island, some are just segregated in certain spots. We're asking you to move your business in various areas, look for market segments, and all these little strategies, we're going to work with you in that. And that's what the Tobago Business Advisory Service will look at.
And in terms of the businesses, have they been responding to the support that you've been giving them? Because I know sometimes a businessman, I just want to sell my carrot, and I just want to sell, and I just want to do this. Have they been responding in the way that they should? Because I believe that they will reap the benefits if they do, but have they been giving openly, responding and saying, here, take my business, help me, and put me in a place that is better for me overall?
For the last two workshop we had, it was overwhelmed. We didn't have space for them. We know the AI, we had the AI conference coming. We have one that we're going to do for the chamber, which will be this Saturday. And again, it's overwhelmed because AI becomes a big issue, a big thing, a big new kid on the block. And we are working with AI. We are working with our Vice President, Jason Atta, working with AI and how AI can assist you in your business. You will be marveled to see what AI can do. I was blown away sitting with Jason and going through what AI could do for a small business, for a large business. We're not saying that AI will just get rid of everybody's job, the lower staff, but AI could be a tool that the SME can use effectively. And when I say effectively, not to just write letters for you and you see to whom, no. AI could be a tool that you could use to analyze even up to your accounts. Even going through your proposal with the bank, AI could be there to assist you in that whole package going forward. So, I mean, we there at this workshop, it's called AI Experience. We were able to show you how AI can be used in your business as a tool to assist you in marketing, to assist you with sales, to assist you with customer service. Imagine an AI assisting you with customer service, because AI is going to read all the feedbacks from your customers. AI is going to analyze it. AI is going to tell you exactly where you're dropping short, whether it's your front staff or your back office staff. AI is going to tell you exactly your price point. If your pricing is too much, if you need to move a little lower in the end, AI is going to tell you between your production where you need to cut, because there may be things that you're doing that you don't understand, and AI is going to show you that. And that's what we're going to show you within our programs with AI.
Okay, so Mr. Williams, I just want to shift gears a bit and talk about some other areas that the Secretary would have mentioned. And they spoke about growth within the tourism sector as well as the agricultural sector. I know they did mention trying to grow the agricultural sector from, I think it's under 1% or 1%, up to 6% of the GDP of Tobago. What are your views on these goals of this administration?
Now, what you mentioned is that the inflation in Tobago is really pivoted around the food import bill. And we had to understand that, Our taste go on to raspberries, strawberries, blueberries, and all the berries. Right? We forget pomerac, we put pomsity, we put sapadilla. We have no mango, Julie mango taste anymore, We use all the berries on them. And that is what we're trying to say, reduce our food import bill. And if we reduce our food import bill, which push the inflation, then we know how to push, we had to grow. We had to start to grow. So that's why the emphasis is on the farmers, the emphasis is on the mega farm that she mentioned, that she want to push Tobago into that direction. We do farming as a hobby. We had to move that direction. We had to do farming as a job. It's an enterprise on its own. Right now, they're doing farming. You do a little back garden. You plant 200 head of lettuce and you say, I tired. Yes, me planting no more. Just the other day, I remember Subway wanted some fresh lettuce and they couldn't get lettuce. Couldn't get lettuce on the island because nobody could have consistently supply them with lettuce 200 heads per day. And that's the problem. It's not that they could get lettuce, but one weekend you can get all the lettuce in the world, and next weekend, no lettuce.
The consistency.
And that is correct. So we're looking at these mega farms that she mentioned in her package, and different farmers will be given different products or produce to make. So you can plant. So this one going to be a root crop farmer. This one going to be a leaf or seasoning. And they segment them and they're ongoing. It's a mega farm. So we're doing probably 500 heads, 1,000 heads of lettuce. If you're doing chicken, you rear chicken. You don't rear 200 chicken. That's for what? That must be for you alone to use throughout your time. But you want to groom 1,000 heads of chicken. So every cycle you have 1,000, producing 1,000 heads. So you have these mega farms to do that kind of thing. And that's what she mentioned. Once we do that now, we're able to cut down on our food import bill and our inflation will go down. Food inflation definitely will go down. And that's something we want to look at. And I'm happy about it. It's mentioned there. And I think this sector could take full advantage of it. Really full advantage of it. I know they started the Kendall Farm School, the area there. They started to bring things back to normal. So I want to push the young youths because a lot of folks leaving school now is graduation time. Push them towards the entity of farming. Make farming sexy. Making farming seems like if it's a old man thing. You had to put on old and dirty clothes and no mechanism of the farming, and you had to be there only with a whole chicken. No. There are machines that you could use. There are even technology you could use in farming. There's an AI tool you use in farming. You won't believe how these things could really work for you. So you as a young entrepreneur getting into farming must understand that, hey, you can use technology for farming. It's no longer you sitting down there and you bang your head and your back and you're only hoeing. No. Farming go into mechanize it, and there you could use all the tools that are necessary to make farming seem sexy, as they will put it.
Mr. Williams, you are very, very excited about this budget and the potential that is there for Tobago, the Tobago economy, and the majority of the industries, mentioned in the budget as well. You seem very, very excited, and as you mentioned, a passing grade for the Secretary in her delivery of the budget this year. In closing, though, because I wish we had more time so we could continue talking with the passion that you have this morning. In closing, is there any other point you want to raise to ensure our viewers understand where we are in terms of the budget presentation?
Well, the human development, the human capital is something we had to look at, and that's something that we always had to play. We want to develop the tourism industry, so we know we have to look at the human element of it. We want to look at folks who are getting into hospitality. There's the Tobago Hospitality Institute. We want to take full advantage of those institutes because the hotels is coming. They definitely will come. We have a new terminal building to open. We're hoping that it opens very much soon for this summer. And when that terminal building opens and the new airlift comes into the space, we need plants, we need hotels. Once the approval has been done and all these plants decide to start construction, there will be a need for Tobagonians to get into the hospitality sector. And so hence the reason why we're asking you to plant the seed now. We're asking all the young professionals and them, look at hospitality as a career. There's a meaningful career. You can make money in hospitality. I can tell you I've been there. I work on the cruise ship for 6 years and I tell you, I make lots of money. And you can do that and you can make it a big career and make lots of money off of it.
The passion there, and of course I know, especially as the president of the Tobago division, you have that passion and you want to see businesses thrive on the island of Tobago. So we say thank you so much for coming in this morning and encouraging our businesses and of course extending your arms to provide that measure of support so that they could maximize all the opportunities ahead of them, especially coming out of the budget presentation yesterday and in the House. So thank you so much. Ladies and gentlemen, we've been speaking with Mr. Curtis Williams. He is the president of the Tobago division of the Trinidad and Tobago Chamber of Industry and Commerce, as we went through the budget review and the position of the chamber and the things that they will be doing to partner with the Tobago House of Assembly to provide that measure of support for businesses here on the island of Tobago. We have to go for a short break before we continue conversations in studio, and as we go, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be right back.
to go. Anything we not backing down, like a bomb we ready to explode. Ain't gonna wait until my back against the wall. Ain't gonna.
Hello, New York. Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17th, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages. Team Tobago Day.
My4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
Rotisserie. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Welcome back to our viewers to the Tobago Updates Morning Show, and we have our final guest in studio with us, economist Mr. Barry Joefield, and he is going to give us his thoughts on the THA 2026 budget review. Good morning, Mr. Joefield.
Morning, Mr. Holder.
Good morning. Good morning.
How are you doing?
Well, thanks. It's a pleasure having you here this morning. So we're talking budget.
Sure.
All right. So give us, we just spoke with Mr. Williams of the Chamber, and we also spoke with Mr. Sandy, representing the entertainment industry. And now we have you here as an economist. And of course, we want to get your opinion in terms of the presentation of the budget that was done yesterday in the House. So tell us your position on the budget, the high points, the low points, your assessment of the overall delivery.
My issue is and continues to be that Tobago is dependent on some percentage of funding from Trinidad. And therefore, for me, the weakness in the budget, it's very soft, almost silent on revenue generation. There is precious little on revenue generation. Save, I think, for the latter part of the budget where she spoke about some investments in Pigeon Point, Studley Park, and I think it's Idicott.
Okay.
Again, I presented a budget. I heard no tourism figures. Where are we in terms of our tourism figures? Our arrivals, where are we with that? That is supposed to be our marquee industry. We heard absolutely nothing about where we're going with tourism, where it is at this point. And for me, and when you looked at the increase in GDP, I think she said it was a there was a 4-point-something% increase, but that was in government. It's clear to me that there's no thought is being given to how Tobago can generate its own revenue. I'll give you one example. We had the mid-year budget review, which in my mind is a con job on Tobago, giving us less than 1% of the 3.1 billion budget, and then giving us a loan. And I had the opportunity to listen, I think it's to Mr. Hans Devines, talk about this loan story, which the Minister of Finance wanted us to believe was delayed by the Minister of Finance. And by what he had to say in Parliament, and I could only say based on what he said, it was the THA delaying, not knowing which coast areas they wanted to have this money affected. So it was the THA delaying based on what Mr. Devines had to say in Parliament. And if he was wrong, I suspect they will take him to the Privileges Committee for saying things that were inaccurate. Okay, even if you get $100 million for coastal works, I'm saying you can. I have been proffering the idea about, I think you know where the Coast Guard base is.
Yes.
I'm sure you know where the bridge is in Lambo on the old road.
Yes.
So if you take 100 million, we have Studley Park Corridor could give us the boulders to block the area and, save Scarborough Junior Secondary. And you can build a lot of booths going down on that side. And in other words, you can use the 100 million to invest in the area, remediating the area, and being able at the same time to build booths that would allow you to earn revenue to defray the cost of it. Yes? I'm saying there's no thought going into what we can do with the resources that come to Tobago. It's, again, I will give you just two quick examples before, I turn you over to your questioning. I've proffered the idea of the old hospital being converted into he was looking at a global school of medicine. The hospital served Tobago, I think it might have had a population of 50,000 then. We could convert that into a global school of medicine, yes? And there are simple things like that we can do in the Tobago space. And under development, where we earn an income. No, I don't know what we do with development funding, but to me, it's not development funding in the sense of development. And lastly, I think you might remember you had an interview, I think 2 weeks ago with the Secretary of Finance. And she was talking about, this whole issue of, it's definitely there, but she was zeroing in on a 5.1%. And all of a sudden, yesterday, she's zeroing on a 5.6%. I'm not sure which one it is and why the shift has been made. Maybe it has been made because of the con job that was done in the media review. Because I'm totally disappointed about that arrangement. And the figures, to me, speak to a con job. You raise it to 184 so that it falls within the ambit of that 4.3 to 6.9%, to give the impression that Tobago is being supported in that way. And it's clear to me that you cannot use the 100 million to do anything else but coastal works. How can that be money's allocated? The other 34 million, you can move it around. As you choose, the 100 million is fixed. Yes. You can only use it for the coastal works, and this is a loan. Who repays this loan? The THA? That's my question.
So, Mr. Joefield, you mentioned that not much was said in the budget review concerning revenue generation.
Sure.
But the Secretary would have mentioned the attempts within the tourism and agriculture industries to grow their GDP contributions. What are your thoughts on that?
Mentioning and there's no clarity in my mind. Okay, so I just gave you specific things. I'd give you a specific one in tourism. Now we have a school called the THDI. To me, it's very simple. You upgrade the THDI, yes? It could provide university degrees in hospitality and the arts, as the case may be. I'm saying there's specific things you look for that would suggest to me this, and she keeps talking about an investment, which is more expenditure. When you tell me about an investment, it means, or it implies to me, there's some return to be had on this investment. And all I'm hearing, and that's the problem, all I'm hearing is expenditure. We're going to expend on this, we're going to expend on that, we're going to expend on the other. I'm not hearing this expenditure on tourism is going to improve or increase arrivals by 5% or 10%. That's the kind of conversation we need to be having in Tobago, not this idea of spending money without understanding where this return is coming or what do we expect as a return. Do we really expect a return in here at all? Before I came here, again, I tried to send, which might have been a bit late, too late for the hearing. But if you look at Section 50 and 49 of the Tobago House of Assembly Act, it, in my mind, makes the THA very lazy. Because if you look at that Section 50 and THA earns above 6.9% in any year, and they own above 6.9% of what was allocated in that year, the Minister of Finance has the authority to take 50% of that amount. And in my mind, it makes the THA lazy. You better stay between 4.3% and 6.9%. And the closer we get to that, the less likely we want to put any effort to go beyond 6.9% of the allocation. That's part of the section of the THA Act. We must adjust it. In fact, that's one of the major things that we ought to be focusing on now, addressing that Tobago House of Assembly Act to remove barricades like that limit the potential, that limit the interest of the THA to earn more revenues, increasingly so that we can be economically independent. All this talk in my mind about self-determination and autonomy is just old talk. Without money, it's old talk. And we need to be generating revenue. We need to be seeing some idea, okay, that we're going to replace 1% of what we receive from Trinidad every 5 years so that the next 20 years we don't need that kind of support. That's the kind of talk we need to be hearing, not this, I want 5% and I want 10%. If you continue to take a percentage, you will Tobago is supposed to be so self-sufficient that we're able to loan Trinidad some money, yes?
Mr. Joefield, the investment in the SMEs, don't you think that investment there is an opportunity for Tobago to increase its economics and reduce what you're talking about here in terms of give me 5.1% or give me 5.9%? Don't you think that investment will have a measure of return? And now I'm not saying the investment will bring return tomorrow morning or next week. It is a process. All of these things are processes that have to take place. And there's no specific timeline. While we could put a timeline that we could work towards, don't you think, because you're saying all you're hearing is investment in this, investment in that, and you're not seeing returns. You're seeing it as expenditure, but you're not seeing return. But it's an investment. Investments are supposed to yield returns. Is it that you're saying you're not seeing an opportunity for any returns on the investments?
All right, let me put it this way. If you analyze the small loans and grants that have been granted by the finance department, over 90% of them are non-performing. If you examine venture capital, maybe 100% is non-performing. The question, there are bigger issues than just providing money to the SMEs. What they need is, you need an incubator. You need a supportive system that you identify persons who are doing excellent work in the space, maybe through community or whatever. You provide the support, help them to do their business proposals, give them guidance on.
But isn't that what the investment is about? Because it's not that, because the secretary specifically spoke about to the fact that, okay, we give grants and we give loans and we see businesses still not performing. And so now the investment is to provide the same support you're talking about, which is training in all different areas and on all different aspects of their business to ensure that their business remains viable and sustainable. So is it the same thing you're talking about now is what the secretary presented? So I'm not sure if I'm with you on this topic.
So let me go again. All right. I would have had a little more intimate experience with venture capital. And I'm saying to you that if you look at that model, the model provided for technical support. Ask if any technical support was provided and whether or not, in fact, while the Secretary is speaking now, any technical support is being provided to those persons who are part of that portfolio. Ask if any technical support is being provided to the 90% of non-performing loans in the small loans and grants program at this point. You already have a situation where you have expended resources. Well, then, in my mind, you try to analyze this thing first of all. In fact, we have what I'm telling you, I'm sure you did not know before. I'm saying there's no analysis of what the issues are so that you can say to me what you're doing would address the issue. And I'm saying to you, my belief is that this is all, again, as I talked about conjob, and I meant that, this is all about giving the impression that some kind of, and she was there for quite a while. She was there under London. She said she was there under Joel Jack. She was there under Farley. So she must have known. I am on the outside. If I could know these things, she's there. She must know that there are issues going on in there that need to be addressed and how they need to be addressed. Why wouldn't they be addressed?
And isn't this the opportunity now to address it? Because you say what you are saying and what is happening is the same thing. You're saying that no support was given. So an assessment was made. This is why the businesses have not been sustainable. And this is why now the Secretary is coming with, listen, the reason why the businesses were not being sustained or remaining viable is because there was no technical support. All we have been doing is throwing money to them. Right. Let us now throw support, the technical support that they will need, which is what the SME program now is supposed to be doing. Lending the support in the different areas to ensure your business remains sustainable and viable. So what you are saying did not happen. Of course, an assessment was made. So if you can see it, those on the inside saw it, and this is what they're presenting now to ensure they provide a measure of support. Mr. Joefield, I really wish we had all the time this morning to continue this conversation, but we don't. We have to, we have to end the morning show here. And possibly, if at all possible, we can always bring you back to continue the conversation where this is concerned. But, we're happy for your contribution, your observations, your assessments, and we want to continue. So at another time, we will. Once the producer, the time, and the opportunity permits for us to continue this conversation. Ladies and gentlemen, we're speaking with Mr. Barry Joefield. He's an economist, and, of course, speaking about the budget presentation in the House yesterday, his assessment in terms of what was presented to us, what could have happened, what should have happened, and where we should be in terms of how the allocation and the set of the economy, in fact, of Tobago, the possibilities that he finds are endless, that are not being explored at this point in time. Perhaps we'll bring him back another time to continue this conversation. And of course, we want you to continue to be a part as well. Remember, you can leave your comments on our Facebook live stream and on our YouTube channel as well. Well, this is where we have to end the morning show, but it's not where we end our programming. We head on over to GMT, which is Good Morning Tobago. So we do hope that you can stay with us. And as you stay, we invite you to help us. Share the live, share the live, share the live.
The strength of our resilience towards disaster preparedness and the strength of our resilience to the impacts of climate change, while it is grounded in our capacity and our capability in terms of our responsiveness, the resources that are available to us, while it is indicative as well as of our technical capabilities and how we are trained to prepare. But I want to tell you this morning that our resilience is also grounded in the fact and also largely dependent on how much we can collaborate with each other.
But when we look at our landscape, on our inner cities and also our rural communities, they are highly vulnerable to hydrometeorological events. And therefore it's important for these stakeholders, our stakeholders, to understand exactly what is happening with the hydrometeorological impact on our exposure. For example, our coastal community, our slopes, slope failures, fallen trees, or utilities, and what is going on with our infrastructure. We have seen where funding has become a major issue in terms of rehabilitation and recovery. And therefore, I think it is necessary for all of Tobago to understand the importance, therefore, of resiliency. And this session will allow us to have a true picture as to what is exactly happening, not just the negative, but also how we can merge our resources together.
One of the things that we're looking forward to is having pods in every community so that when a disaster hits, they're not looking at Speyside to get a chainsaw. They would have it within their own community. They'll be able to respond to their own community emergency response. So another thing, as Dario was mentioning, was making sure that we know who are the vulnerable within our community, where is the loose roof that's in our community, so that we know even beforehand how we can address these issues.
I am a returning national. I recently came back to the island, back in April, and I wanted all the information that I could get, really, because I'm worried about what I don't know. And so far, it's a lot. So it really is about the information so that I could be prepared for what is to come. I'm so glad that I'm here, and I've already picked up a few things that I need to actually learn some more about. So I think they're absolutely vital.
That was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
You're viewing Tobago Updates Television, your exclusive gateway to Tobago, broadcasting the beauty of this island paradise to the world.
Tobago Updates. I am your host, Chanel Felix. And you know, whenever you see me sitting here, it's because we're about to have those conversations that you want to have while I ask those questions that you want asked. But before we get into this morning's interesting conversations, I want to let you know this morning that we are continuing to talk all about that budget presentation that was made by Councillor Petalan Roberts, who's the Secretary for Finance in the Tobago House of Assembly. If you have been watching this morning, you know that we have been speaking with a number of experts in a number of industry as it pertains to that budget presentation. This morning, I have the privilege of chatting with another expert who is no stranger to us here on Good Morning Tobago. This morning I'm chatting with economist Dr. Vanish James. Good morning.
Morning, but
Good
Chanel.
morning, and it is a pleasure to have you, Dr. James. I know this is your season, this is your time when you're paying a lot of attention to what's being said and what's being done as it pertains to Tobago's economic future. Now, yesterday we had the maiden budget presentation speech done by Councillor Patel and Roberts, and overall, we've been hearing a number of reviews from a number of different sectors. She came in yesterday, and Tobago is asking for 5.9 as opposed to 5.1, and she's used the justification of Tobago's population share of the national population, and justifies that Tobago deserves this. Do you think that this justification will be honored this time around, as it pertains to what Tobago is given?
You have to either get the Dispute Resolution Commission reconvened so that it could make an evaluation for you, or you have to produce serious data to show that the population of Tobago has grown, and then get the government in Trinidad to make a pronouncement on the adjustment of the dispute resolution share as assigned. So it's not just wishful thinking, is it?
Well, yes, but what I'm asking, do you think that they would honor this request based on the justification? I know that the dispute resolution committee, has their place, and we have the upper and the lower limit. But do you think, seeing that there's a new administration at the central government level, that they would be honoring this justification?
For it, you will have to be lawless effectively to do so. You will have to, the central government, just like the THA, must pay attention to what the law requires. What the dispute resolution pronounced has become part of the law, essentially. And if you want to change what it pronounced, you have to go to the commission or go to the parliament and adjust it. So I don't see any basis on which you could just move the share to 5.9% without evidence, remember, Trinidad is involved in this too. You have to have fairness for Trinidad and fairness for Tobago. So you need the CSO data on the population, on the Tobago population, to get to the population share. That's what we did in the Dispute Resolution Commission. And then you have to say the minimum share would have to change because the population has changed. May I point out, though, that if the population has changed in the way that is anticipated by the requested share, it has implications for other things in this budget that I'd like to draw your attention to when we get there.
Well, excellent. I mean, even with the theme anchoring growth, accelerating growth and anchoring fiscal stability, the Secretary focused on key areas such as tourism, agriculture, education, healthcare, and a number of other areas, small and medium-sized enterprises, to help accelerate the growth of Tobago's economy. Do you think that there were areas or fundamental areas for economic growth that were left out in this budget this time around?
Well, if you ask me as a professional, I would say this budget reflects no adequate understanding of the nature of the Tobago economy. I don't just study the Tobago economy around the budget time. This is what I do every day. And the document doesn't feature any adequate understanding of the kind of problem, the nature of the development problem we have here in Tobago. In fact, the document has 21 development priorities. That alone is a sign that you're not working with a proper analysis of the economy, and you're not working with a proper plan. You cannot have a serious plan with 21 priorities. I mean, quite apart from the abuse of the English language. What you will find if you study the economy properly is that you have a lot of interdependencies between sectors and institutions and so on. And so there will be a few key things that you can change. And when you change those, the rest of the economy changes. So you may have one or two or three of those. Those are what you would describe as the priorities. You change them and they change the whole society. There is no effort in this document to identify those. So that's why you end up with 21 aimless priorities, really.
And even
So
as you look at it from an economic perspective, right? And you hear the secretary pinpointing that one of those fundamental areas has to do with accelerating business growth and focusing on empowering and the private sector and giving them the tools that they need in order to succeed. Do you not see this as an area of priority for economic development for the island?
Tobago, you have to build a viable private sector. What we're doing now is not going to work anytime soon. So this business of a government economy is clearly going in the wrong direction. So it's appropriate to head down the road of a strengthening of the private sector. But that can't be done by magic or voodoo or obia. That has to be done on the basis of scientific understanding of how the economy works. Why is the private sector so weak in Tobago? What sectors do we have to build? And the answer to that can't be tourism, as I understand it. If you look at the national evidence, tourism provides very little development input to Trinidad and Tobago. And that's because of what we mean by tourism. If you look in the accounts provided by the THA itself, tourism essentially means for them restaurants, distribution, and hotel accommodation. But that can't be a serious meaning of tourism if you're talking about moving an economy like Tobago forward. Tourism, defined that way, is at the bottom of the productivity chain of the set of industries Tobago should pay attention to. We have to look for the industries that are at the top of the potential high value added activity. So what this government is doing, it betrays a lack of understanding, really, much more so than even a lack of goodwill.
And what are some of those industries that you would suggest are at the top of that, converting human capital into an economically viable tourism sector?
To answer that, you have to look at the evidence, and what the evidence across the Caribbean shows, and the evidence for Trinidad and Tobago, is that in the case of St. Kitts Nevis, they have a consortium of, four consortia of international collaborators who are producing tertiary education for export, and they're doing it successfully, so that they are producing a GDP per capita with that orientation that is much higher than that of Trinidad and Tobago. They are producing $21,000 per person every year. Trinidad and Tobago is now at $14,004. So they're doing that with just exporting tertiary education. In the case of the Bahamas, they're achieving that 31,000 with financial services. That's accounting services and legal services and portfolio design services and so on. High value added, what you will call high human capital input industries that create high value. That's the direction in which we have to go. That, of course, is the same thing you see in Cayman and Bermuda. And when I am currently studying the Philippines economy for the UN, and it's the same thing you see there. High value added, creative industries, high value added, not creative industries in the way we do it, but creative industries in an industrialized sense, year round, not seasonal and stuff like that. Those are the kinds of things you have to think about if you want to move an economy like Tobago forward. Don't forget, this economy has been in the mess it is in for 140 years. Our export economy collapsed in 1884. We've not been able to revive it since.
Right. And for some persons listening, they might say, Dr. Vanish James, your rhetoric speaks to a level of doom and gloom for the Tobago economy. Do you think that there is a level of optimism looking forward for what Tobago has the potential to achieve, and what are the key aspects to attaining that?
Now, why do you call that doom and gloom? That's the facts. That's the evidence I'm giving you. And the society, Tobago and Trinidad, has to wake up. Trinidad has not been able to develop either, because it has relied on oil and gas, which creates this very kind of instability and crisis that the country is in today. No, that's just the evidence. You could characterize that evidence any way you want. But if you want to diversify the national economy, you can't keep going down the road of oil and gas and not down the road of manufacture of consumer durables for export. What you have to do is pay attention to the scientific evidence around the world. And I mean, the US, for example, exports $45 billion of tertiary education. It's exportable. It's achievable. I pointed to you what St. Kitts Nevis is doing. It's not doom and gloom to point that out. What the country has to do, including Tobago, is wake up and smell the coffee and recognize that if you do what you are calling tourism in Tobago today, what this THA is calling tourism, you'll get a result similar to Jamaica, which is producing about $5,000 per person per year. That won't work for Tobago after 140 years. So that's that the country and Tobago has to face that fact. What I am pointing out to you is which industries are the high comparative advantage industries of the country, and Tobago could participate well in heading in that direction. This budget does not point us in that direction. So it's a prescription for failure.
And Dr. James, even with the largest portion of the allocation going towards the health sector, do you see health tourism as being, able to help move the needle as it pertains to Tobago's increase in GDP over time?
Absolutely. Health tourism, healthcare tourism is one of the directions in which we have to go, but not the way anticipated here. First of all, you can't do serious healthcare tourism without anchoring it in the communities because of the nature of the programs we know that work. We're currently designing those programs right now for the Eastern Caribbean. And it's not just sending people up to what people would call a wellness center or something like that. That's not the way you do this. You have to talk seriously about the development of safe, healthy, happy communities that can attract 40-something-year-olds and above that have non-communicable diseases. And so that's what my team of experts, of medical experts, are coming up with for the Eastern Caribbean. It's those kinds of programming that could be done, and that programming can't be done simply by sitting down in the THA. You've got to bring the global community of knowledge and skills to bear on what we design here. Tobago will not make progress just looking inwards to itself and its own capabilities, because we have such a small complement of high-skilled people. So we've got to bring the world in to participate in the conversation and so on. That requires a completely different setup of the THA, as you know, as I've pointed out to you before.
Understood. Dr. James, we're going to take a quick break right here, and we're going to come back and continue with much more in this conversation. So see you soon.
Do you think you know Premier League or Champions League football? What about international cricket or the IPL and CPL? How about NBA basketball? Well, now you can put your skills to work to earn some extra cash by betting on the games with TT Bet Arena. Simply go to our website, choose a sport you want to bet on, find the games and place your bets. And with your computer or mobile device, you can bet from anywhere. Just go to ttbetarena.com, sign up for a free account, make a deposit, and start betting. It's that simple. You can even qualify for our $2,000 sign-up bonus. We also have horse racing, plus live casino games where you can bet using TT dollars. And check our new Tobago location at 7B Milford Road, Crown Point. For more info, call or WhatsApp 494-0634. TT Bet Arena, the #1 sports betting company in Trinidad and Tobago.
Dance Ensemble Tobago presents our signature event, Tobago Dance Sport Championship and Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Lights, Cameras, Dance on 12th edition on Saturday the 12th of July, 5 p.m. The Chopin Cultural Complex Auditorium. See our dancers, all ages, compete in waltz, jive, rumba, salsa, mambo, and much more. Our Dancing with the Caribbean Stars. Who will take home the Mirrorball Trophy? Mrs. Takiana Ned Augustine, the wife of the Chief Secretary of the Tobago House of Assembly. Miss Lynette Louis, vocalist entertainer. Mrs. Cassandra Thompson Forbes, journalist and Tobago correspondent. Mr. Javon Carrington, founder and head trainer of Dosfit Studios. And Mr. Julian Skeet, administrator and former TV host. After show, dance party with DJ Santa out of Trinidad. Early bird tickets, adults $200, children $75, and general tickets, adults $250 and children $100. Get your early bird tickets now from Dance Ensemble members, D&D Jewelers at Tobago United Cooperative, Milford the 24 gas station in Canaan, and the Chopin Cultural Complex box office. For more information, you call 772-9049 and 340-5758. You can't miss this one.
Courts is well known as the Caribbean's largest retailer, providing consumers for generations with the very best products to enhance their homes. This year, we bring our expertise to businesses. Courts Business Solutions will serve small, medium, and large companies with the very best products at the most competitive prices, backed by warranties and after-sales support. Hoteliers, office managers, restaurants, and so many more. Courts Business Solutions, a brand of the Unicomer Group.
Welcome to Tobago Glass Supplies, where innovation meets excellence and service reigns supreme.
Well, I want a proper window for me house, yeah? I want no shake thing in my place.
Our commitment is simple: to provide high quality innovative aluminum, vinyl, and glass solutions for both commercial and residential spaces.
We get one wall on the side and we get one hole. You can put a window there, invent something, a window for put there.
At TGSL, we don't just meet needs, we exceed expectations. Our range includes the finest aluminum cladding options, setting new standards in durability and style.
Well, me meet ya. Me don't know who I'm talking to, but I have the cousin Tofina tell me for call all you go get proper thing for put there. Me don't know.
Driven by our passion to elevate, we aim to be the leading supplier in the Caribbean market while retaining our identity as a family-owned business.
Driven? No, I ain't driving. I get a bus ticket. One of me picnic them will drop me down there. Must bring me down there. Russo Trade Springer down by the page down there.
Because at Tobago Glass Supplies Limited, it's not just about products, it's about relationships. It's about you.
It's all about me? Who's your family? You know Edna and Dorka and them, you know them, but you resemble them Edward boy and them Edward people them you.
Tobago Glass Supplies, Russo Trade Spring Garden, telephone number 639-6266. Innovation, quality, service. That's Tobago Glass Supplies Limited.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. This morning we continue our post-budget discussion here in Tobago on Tobago Updates. I have been chatting with economist Dr. Vanish James. Good morning and welcome back, Dr. James. Now, you suggested something as we spoke earlier. You indicated that if indeed Tobago is using its population share as justification for the budgetary allocation for 2026, this has implications on other areas. Tell us a bit about that.
Right. This is an extremely important consideration for the people of Tobago and for the THA leaders. Because if it is true that Tobago has 5.9% of the population, that's your minimum share base, it implies that Tobago has a population of 80,712 persons here, given the national population estimate for 2024. Now, if that is true, the THA's budget declared a GDP, real GDP of $1.71 billion. And on that basis, the GDP per capita of Tobago for 2024 would have been $3,115 per person. Now, if that's true, it represents a 13.3% decline of the Tobago real economy from the estimated $3,593 per person of 2021, so that the Farley regime has produced a collapse in the Tobago economy, not unlike what Rowley produced for the national economy from 2015 to 2024. And the government, therefore, here has to be extremely careful to calculate all its marbles when it's making these pronouncements, because people like me would notice it. You will describe it as unpalatable to tell the public, but that is what it implies. It is implying that the economy of Tobago has gone deeply into the doldrums because of the growth of the population in Tobago. So we are way worse off than we were in 2021, if this is true. I don't know if this is true myself, because my connections in the CSO tell me they're not quite finished with the census and so on. So this would be intercensal data. But the THA has to be careful when it makes these statements.
Right. And even as you look around the world, you're doing a number of projects within the region. Currently, you indicated that there's that project that you are working on that encompasses researching the Philippine economy, the economy of the Philippines. Now, how do you think, those global tensions are or will have the potential to impact our local economy?
You mean what's going on with Trump?
What's going on with the US and Israel and Iran?
Yeah, well, the main thing that will do from a national economic standpoint is change the price of energy. I doubt that that Iran will close the Strait of Hormuz. So if that doesn't happen, what is likely to happen is that oil prices would spike because of the fighting. Once the fighting dies down, oil prices would come back down, and they'll generally come back below the national $78 per barrel target. Same for gas prices, really. So in the end, it will leave Trinidad and Tobago in a position where the price of oil is close to what Rowley experienced. And that means that you can't rely on the energy sector to underwrite the recovery of the budget. So Kamala will find that she doesn't have any money to fund the $3.71 billion request of Farley. Farley is saying an economy of 63.5 billion, a budget of 63.5 billion is predicted. But if that is true, how could it be true? How could it be true in a economy in crisis? And the only way for that to be true would be for the government to borrow, because You can't fund on revenues maybe more than 40 billion of that 63.5 billion they are assuming here. Because, remember, you've closed the Trinidad and Tobago Revenue Authority, you've shut that down. You've not really put anything in place to collect revenues, and you're going to have to deal with amnesties that are still needed for businesses, small businesses and so on, to be able to recover from the post-COVID challenges that the country has faced inside the oil and gas sector in and of itself. So when all of that is added, the government is going to have to raise revenues somewhere in the meaning deficit financing somewhere in the region of 20 billion, 23 billion dollars, if it is going to spend 63.5 billion dollars. So all those things would raise questions about the rationale lying behind the assumption that the country will fund a $63.5 billion budget for 2025-2026. Where you got that from, it's going to have to be solid analysis you're taking to the country to say this is what you expect and this is how it would be funded, this much deficit and so on. And then the question would come up, which I don't see addressed in the document, which is, well, how does Tobago's 3.5 billion feature in that? In other words, how much of that will be deficit financing? And therefore, what is Tobago going to do to contribute to covering that deficit financing over time? That raises fundamental questions about how the Tobago economy fits into the national diversification program that will be required to cover that scale of deficit financing. So that's why I'm saying these things, when you're putting together a budget as the THA, you're budgeting as half the country. And you have to be very careful, very scientifically responsible in putting together your numbers. I hope you see my point.
Yes,
I hope
I
the
do.
public understands.
And, contrary to the assessment that you made earlier, in the budget presentation, we heard from the Secretary of Finance indicating that there was a 3% increase in real GDP, between the period 2023 to 2024. Do you have any comments or perspectives on that?
Well, that does not contradict anything I'm saying. The 1.71 billion they pronounced in the budget is what I'm using here. If the population of Tobago is 80,712, as assumed by the 5.9% request, then the GDP per capita, which is the real measure you need to understand how the economy is performing, would be $3,115 per person. You can't escape that. Those are your figures. That's a 13% decline below $3,593 per person of 2021. Now, that's my point. They have to be careful in doing sound, integrated, model-driven analysis if you're going to budget for an economy like Tobago. And you can't just throw figures around. You can't just say, I want 5.9% as the minimum share because of the population, without doing the implied estimate of the population. And then you have to account to the public for why did the economy, the GDP per capita of the economy decline. The fact that you are saying a 3.3% growth occurred doesn't mean the GDP per capita did not decline. Because for the population to get to 80,000, it would have to outgrow the GDP. The population would have had to grow faster than the GDP of Tobago, and that's what their assumption implies. So this is not contradictory to what their figures are saying. This is saying, this is the implication of your figures. And you have to be careful to calculate those things before you go to the public and pronounce them. Otherwise, your budget looks like a snake oil budget, voodoo budgeting, as it were.
Right. And are there any areas of this budget that was presented by the Secretary for Finance that you are optimistic about or you can commend them on?
That I think the people, well, remember, I'm talking to the people of Tobago when I come on your station. So I'm not talking to the THA. I am a Tobagonian, and I'm talking to my fellow citizens when I do the analysis that I do. So they can draw on my professional expertise as much as they want. I find that this is a THA budget, not a Tobago budget. I live here. I don't go anywhere. I work from home. I participated in no budget hearings. I know that my community in Charlottesville and in Mason Hall had no say in this budget. I am not aware of any capital expenditure survey, and so on. So I don't know on what basis this could be treated as anything other than an executive council budget. Now, if you want to move Tobago forward, that is not the right approach to the thing. The other thing that you can't ignore if you're studying this budget is that when you want $3.71 billion, you have to do your calculations. Your economic data says that Tobago can only produce $1.71 billion. That is saying that it can afford, if you tax at 29% as the average rate, the Tobago economy can generate about $496 million of taxes. Now, if that is true, what Tobago is doing is asking Trinidad to fund 87% of the budget it is going to spend here, that $3.71 billion. And that doesn't even take account of the fact that the THA is saying in the document that it wants to borrow. There is no budgeting for the borrowing in the document, but still what it tells you is that you're going to depend even more on Trinidad than the 87%, since you're not taking account of the coverage of the borrowing that you are allowed to do under the law. So all of these things tell me that what's happening in this budget is very worrisome for Tobagonians. Let me draw your attention to one more piece of thing that, as a professional, I would look for before I get around to making what you are calling commendations. One of the things I notice about this budget is that it has a $2.7 billion of consumption spending, what you call recurrent spending. 40% of that are for transfers and subsidies. I find that to be amazing as an economist, because what that is telling me is you're not serious about transforming, building the investment component of the budget to fund a real development program. So you want $1 billion of development spending and $1 billion of transfers and subsidies. Don't you find that to be amazing? And of that $1 billion development spending, you are only spending $1.4 million to support investment in the productive sectors. How is that possible? Where will the rest of the working capital for those sectors come from if this is how we are budgeting? And if you remember that the THA and the government in Tobago is part of Tobago's productive sector. Tobago is a government economy. So these things tell me that this budgeting is really kind of Obiaman budgeting, and it's not the kind of thing that I would recommend to the people of Tobago at all.
Understood. Well, we want to thank you so much for your time this morning, Dr. James, and bringing those perspectives to us. We're going to take a quick break right here, and we'll be back with much more conversations right after this. Again, thank you, Dr. James. See you soon.
Hello, New York. Are you ready to celebrate the essence of Crusoe land and the culture of Tobago? Well, get ready for Tobago Day in New York City, hosted by the Tobago Empowerment and Alliance Mission, Sunday, August 17, 2025, Nazareth High School Courtyard, 475 East 57th Street, Brooklyn, New York, 12 noon to 8 p.m. We bring the Tobago vibes to the Big Apple. Live music, Tobago food, cultural performances, and family fun. So bring Tanty, Granny, the uncle, invite the whole neighborhood. Just bring everybody and bring your significant other too. Come celebrate Tobago Day in New York City, Sunday, August 17th, Nazareth High School Courtyard. But hey, I forget to tell all you, it's we 10th anniversary celebration. For more information, call 929-327-7857 or check Team's Facebook and Instagram pages, Team Tobago Day.
you in a dispute with a registered investment service provider of the TTSEC? Or maybe you're the victim of an investment scam. You can lodge a complaint or submit an anonymous tip to the Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission. Download our Investor Protection app or go to ttsec.org.tt to access our complaint form or submit an anonymous tip. Write a clear summary of your complaint. Submit copies of supporting documents along with the originals for verification. Provide a copy of the feedback received from the entity regarding your complaint. All investor complaints or scam reports submitted by the public are acknowledged and reviewed by the TTSEC. Investigations are pursued based on the outcome of the review. Trinidad and Tobago Securities and Exchange Commission, protecting the interests of investors and the public. You invest, we protect. Everyone benefits.
Guys, there are some new developments in housing in Tobago, so it's goat racing time. This is 116, the show that keeps you in the know with all things Tobago House of Assembly. Each week, 116 delivers a fun and engaging overview of the latest developments, achievements, activities, and events of our dynamic assembly. So join me. Let's dive into the Tobago House of Assembly's Week in Review right here on 116.
Good morning and welcome back to Good Morning Tobago right here on Tobago Updates. This morning, as we round off our discussions, we are continuing our conversation by chatting with the proposed president for the Trinidad and Tobago Police Services Social and Welfare Association. Now, yesterday we had a conversation with other members of Team Equity, and we're talking about the upcoming elections that's happening. Now, you have presented yourself, ACP Anand Ramasa, as the proposed candidate for president. Good morning and welcome. Tell us a bit about why you have presented yourself.
Thank you very much. And it's great. It's indeed an opportunity to be here on your program and the opportunity to communicate with the police officers who are in Tobago and also those who are in Trinidad in relation to the philosophy of the Team Equity. Now, I have been a previous president on 2 occasions for the association. I also served as a general secretary. Additionally, I was the president of the Caribbean Federation of Police Welfare Associations. So my experience as it relates to leadership in an association environment as it relates to the welfare of police officers is unparalleled, not just in Trinidad and Tobago, in the Caribbean region, so to speak. And when you look at the paradigm as it exists in Trinidad and Tobago, there has been a deficit as it relates to representation of police officers. We see that there has been a neglect as it relates to a lot of benefits and in terms of conditions that are required to be maintained and watched and to be guarded by an association over the years. We look at incidents of problems with promotion. We look at the application of the disciplinary process. We look at it in terms of training and development as being available to all police officers in the organization. With the experience that we have, and also we have the experience in terms of my leadership as being the most successful president as it relates to salary negotiations and negotiating with the chief personnel officer. The deficit that I spoke of, we believe that we as a team, the team that has expanded to 10 members, it now includes a special reserve rep and a municipal rep, and for the first time you have 2 officers from Tobago on an executive team. We believe that coming together and sharing the ideas and the passion and the commitment to ensure that the threshold is raised in relation to what representation really means to be effective in this Trinidad and Tobago organization, that we are the team that can do it.
Right. I mean, even as it pertains to boosting employee morale, tell us a bit about that, because we've seen a lot surrounding the TTPS recently. How important is it for you, in addition to that campaign that's being launched, to have a more customer focus or customer centric drive towards engaging with the public? There's also the internal work that has to be done. How important is it for that investment in, the human capital development and employee morale?
Employee morale is extremely, extremely important when it comes to policing or in any job that you do. It is important that employees incur a level of job satisfaction, that they feel that the employer is not shortchanging them in relation to what are their expectations. And there are a number of issues in the TTPS that is adversely affecting employee morale. Let's look at in relation, one, you had the collective agreement, the negotiations. It was a disappointment for all police officers when the incumbent settled for 002. It has been the lowest in at least the last 2 decades as far as salary negotiations has taken place over the years. And that does not address the issue in terms of rising food prices, rising cost of living for police officers, so that our salary the value of it is much less than it should be, notwithstanding that we have had the salary negotiations. When you look at equity in terms of quality of work life, the job place in many divisions, and you look at Scarborough Police Station, for instance, it has been deplorable for many years. Notwithstanding the complaints have been there perpetually over the last 20 years, nothing sufficiently has done to alleviate the concerns in relation to that. You look at promotion expectations, the blunders over the last couple promotions with respect to promotion in the TTPS. Look at the issue with the inspectors. Many of them are going into retirement and not experiencing the opportunity, not securing the opportunity to transition in the first division. So their work life is cutting short. You have the special reserve police officers who it has been bandied out about in the police service as being exploited by the organization. There is no equal pay in relation to equal work being done in a lot of instances.
Understood. And, even as it pertains to those salary negotiations, would you, as the president at the helm, if you win this election, would you be going back to that negotiation
table? Immediately, we will be going back to the negotiation table. As it is, we are outstanding by one collective agreement period. And by the end of 2025, there will be 2 outstanding periods, so that it is necessary to submit a salary proposal within the first 4 weeks of going into office.
Right. And even as we look at, the salary increases that have been happening across the board, we saw just last year where the SRC had recommended an increase in salary for public officials, and we saw a huge increase. Why is it important to ensure that the playing field is level, particularly when we look at, officers and how they serve, and why it's important for persons to come out and vote for a team that will be championing their cause as it pertains to compensation?
Well, one thing about it is that we do not incur any salary envy in relation to our organization. What we want is fair compensation for our workers, for our officers. And when you look at some of the things that have impacted on the duties and responsibilities of police officers, and no one has addressed the compensation issues that remain unanswered over the years. Let's take, for instance, the AJPA, which is the Administration of Justice Indictable Proceedings Act. Police responsibilities as it relates to processing of persons in custody, attending court, all these things have changed. Police officers basically have to be internet savvy, which is not part of the job requirement or the training. You have to operate like data entry clerks on a daily basis. And these things, some of these duties are full-time occupations of persons outside the service, and in some instances, getting salaries that exceed that of the police officers who are required to perform this as part of their job description on a daily basis. Notwithstanding, those duties and responsibilities have never been taken into consideration as duties that require compensation. So for us, what we want is fair pay in relation to the duties that we are required to do. But we are mindful of the increases that are taking place.
How important is it for team equity, if you do win, your entire slate wins, to consider the thoughts, the ideas, and the consulting with officers on the type of development that you want to champion within the TTPS?
One has to recognize that the supreme authority of the association is the General Council. And when you get a mandate from the General Council, you're fully empowered to carry out that mandate to the fullest. It allows you to use the resources of the organization, knowing that you have the backing of the membership. As part of my leadership, I always remain connected to the general membership. I engage in a lot of consultation because I recognize from my experience over my years as a leader that a lot of the answers to the problems, you get great ideas from members at the general level in the organization. And sometimes senior persons feel, well, I have the experience, I know it all. Well, that in itself is a false paradigm.
Right. And even as we round up this morning's discussions, remind persons of the date and the time of the election and why it's so important for them to come out and support you and your team.
To police officers, special reserve officers, municipal police officers, members of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, election is on the 30th of June. There are a number of polling stations, and there are police stations where polling will be conducted by a roving ballot system. We urge you to come out, support Team Equity. Team Equity has your back. As I say, in this police environment, your environment could be hostile in a matter of seconds, and it is important to know you have an association that have your back, that will stand up with you, will come with you, will represent you to the fullest, and not just give you lip service, as many has come and championed that they can't do it, and when it's time to walk the talk, they run.
Understood. Well, again, we want to thank you so much, ACP Ramasa, for coming in this morning and talking to the persons here in Tobago and officers in Tobago. And again, you are vying for the position of president in that upcoming Trinidad and Tobago Police Service Social and Welfare Association internal election. All right, guys, we want to thank you so much for being a part of this morning's discussions. Thank you for your likes, your shares, and your comments, and all that you have been doing and continue to do to make Tobago Updates the #1 broadcaster here on the island of Tobago. Again, I am your host, Chanel Felix, and have a great day.
Wake up and